What's a doot? Canoots to do. Here we go. That worked. Next project. Greetings, greetings. Welcome to Cody Ironworks. We're working on a bunch of little projects, trying to get a bunch of big projects finished, but I need to forge the little projects before I can finish the big projects. So that's what we're working on today. And talking about crafting stuff and tools and whatever you guys want to talk about. I might even get to working on the rabbits today a little bit. We'll see what happens. I got a ton of these I got to do still, but I'm waiting for the snow to melt out a little bit so I can get to the horseshoes to do more of these. Thanks for the like, I appreciate it. But I'm working on some little brands right now. To go inside some boot jacks. Never ending around here. And I got all the boot jack components done except for the feet. So now I got to bend the feet up. I got to use this. How's everybody doing? If you have any questions, if you have any comments, this is something that I did yesterday. I have yet to post the video of it yet. This is a braiding fid, is what they call it. And my good friend Joel Gomez is a leather worker and braider. He does ridiculous work, and so we traded. I built him a couple of these yesterday, and he brought me a kangaroo bracelet. But he's not just a braider. He does all kinds of good work. Hello. Just busy. Not making. This is the hardest time of year here because we're rolling up on tax time, and boy, it gets tight around here. So anyway, this is Joel's work. The orders kind of dry up. Hello. But on a good note, it gives me the opportunity to get caught up on a whole bunch of stuff. So sure I have enough there. Probably should have split a little more over. I'm working on some little tiny letters. Yeah, I'm working on some little tiny letters to go inside of a boot jack. Little custom one I'm doing. So that's the foot on the boot jacks, and I'm going to do a few of them up, and we'll get one of the boot jacks. I'll show them to you. So I'm doing one of these boot jacks, and I'm going to put a custom brand in here on the inside of them. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it goes here. Okay, got that. Now we're talking. So I've got a bunch of this tooling, but I've switched anvils, and so this tooling, I need to make some shims to go over the top of this tooling. But right now, I'll just put it in here. And generally, if I wasn't filming, I have like 5 vices in this shop. Thank you very much. I've got 5 vices in the shop that are actually set solid. But for the sake of filming, I use this Mr. Wobbles here. Oh, we'll clean that up a little bit. I want to clean that up a little bit, and then it'll look all right once I get it done. So one of my signature pieces that I do is I take these 9-inch nails, like the band, and I do a leaf wall hook out of them. And do I have any of them here? I do. So this is kind of one of the signature pieces I do. And so we're going to throw a couple of those in. I have a friend of mine who's coming over, and I think he wants one or two. So I'm going to build a couple of them up. I just need to round it up a little. Other leg. Yeah, sorry, my Spanish isn't good enough to understand most of that. I assume that it's bad, though. Hey, that's better. Like it. So our leg is a little long, but that's no big deal. You can always cut it off. So there's our P. One of them. One more. Let me find a clean horseshoe. Might be one more leg. Welcome to blacksmithing in real life, guys. Gotta be a little careful when you grab a hold of that stuff because it is hot. Sunday Forge Church. Hey, Chuck. I started blacksmithing in really blacksmithing in about 1989 or 90, but I was doing a lot of metal work before that. So this is what, 36 years I've been doing it? I went to farrier school, and that's how I got started. I was a professional horseshoer for about 22 or 23 years. And I got pretty sick of shoeing horses. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. We're working on some kind of random stuff today. So I'm doing a little pickup stuff. This is called a fid. This is a braiding fid that I did yesterday. I'm working on the boot jack stuff. You know what? Once you're an artist, you kind of hang out with other artists, right? So I do a lot of work for other artists. So I make a lot of custom tools for my leather guy. And we kind of swap stuff once in a while. Yeah. Well, I ain't getting rich, but I mean, after all, I live in a blacksmith shop, so. But I'm happy. And money ain't everything. I need to do a few of these up because I took all the rest downtown. So that's the first step. That's the first step. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for the likes. Appreciate it very much. Here's some little copper bracelets that I was working on earlier today before I started up the forge. I got to get them polished. And that's a shop itself. So when you're drawing that kind of stuff out, like you're going to do a taper, you never try to do a taper in the round. You always try to draw out your tapers in a square. And then if you want it round, then you go back in and knock the corners down. And that's the most efficient way. If you're just trying to mess around there and try to draw that down and keep it round, you're wasting a lot of time. So you do your drawdown square like that, and then it ends up being around like that. So you turn it into an octagon, and then you go knock those corners down. And then generally at that point, especially on this little stuff like that, I just go around and around and around and do plantishing blows, and you end up with something that looks like that. So they call those little light blows plantishing blows. And that takes the hammer marks out of your work. Once your work kind of cools off to where it's not showing the color so much, then you get in there and you do plantishing blows, and that refines your work some. This old anvil needs rebuilt pretty bad, and I'm probably going to have to do it this next week. Seeing how I'm so slow in the shop right now, this is a good time to do this. So this anvil is a 1915 Hey Budden, and it's been used a ton. Now, my buddy Jeff and I refaced that anvil, but we didn't do the horn, and so it's got a couple of really bad flat spots right here. And whenever you're trying to do something concentric, having a big flat spot on the horn of your anvil makes it very difficult. That's what I mean. You get a flat spot, and then my doggone leaf ends up being a little oblong. So I'm going to cheat it. Now I could do that with a file. It's just so much easier to use some electricity, for crying out loud. We're in the 21st century. What the heck? Got flying cards. So see, that one turned out a little better. But I use this very specialized hammer. It's got a flat face on it. It's got a round face on it. And once you do about 1,000 of these, you figure out which face works good for doing what process. And when I say 1,000, I'm not exaggerating. Thanks for the likes, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in here this afternoon and watching me do this. I've been trying to do this every day, do a little live stream every day. Very fine line to do that because that cools off so fast. That thin material and everything's cold right now. You got to be real careful because if you cut them while it's cold, they'll split, it'll break. So you got to do them while they're hot. All right, now somewhere here I got a little block of wood. Aha. I was using as a tool. Yeah. So we're going to make our little leaves here three-dimensional, and this is how we're going to do it. Watch closely. So just by adding a little curve to it, it makes it look a lot more real, right? Because nothing is two-dimensional in the real world, very little is. So there, that one turned out pretty good. Thank you very much. Yeah, he's turning out good. So I always bring these back around. You know, there's 1,000 ways to do it, and there's no really wrong way to do it. But I just have a style that I do. So generally when I'm doing this, now that I got the leaf shaped the way I want, I'm just going to get me a coffee can and I'm going to fill it full of some water here. And we're going to do a little courtesy quench because I don't want to screw up my leaf now that I have it. Now there's a bunch of ways you can do this. You can use a bending fork. There's all kinds. I just cooled that off. Thanks for the likes, everybody. Appreciate it. Throw some hearts up there. Do all that stuff. I appreciate it. Here's the second one. So that material is a little thicker. It's going to take a minute to get it warmed through. Questions, anybody? Comments? This job has worked well for me because deep down in my soul, I'm a loner. And I know I go live every day and I talk about all of this stuff. But in actuality, I can go days and days without seeing or talking to anybody and not lose my mind, which is, I don't know if everybody's that way, but so a job where I work by myself, I find very fulfilling. I also tend to be very competitive. And so in most jobs, that's detrimental to a guy. that's our hook mostly done. But we got to find a way. We got to have a way to mount it on the wall. And this is one of those things where you got to be able to make your own tools, because you got to be able to reach over your work. And so they call these tongs. And they're designed so you can get out of your own way. See how they got the big opening in them so you can get out of your own space. Kind of a specialty tongs. And of course, these are some I made, so they're not very pretty. Thanks for the likes. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for everybody coming in. We're going to do some welding here in a little bit, but first, I want to finish these up. Questions, comments, anything, anybody? Thanks for the likes. Appreciate it. Oh, we'll come over here to this little treadle hammer that I made a few years ago. Right there. Sucker is cold and it just draws, it just pulls the heat out of those. So I generally mount 2 holes in these because otherwise they spin. So I don't hardly make a hook anymore that doesn't have at least 2 places to mount a screw. Because I hate going into the bathroom and then you lift your towel off of there and the hook is spinning around on the wall. Manas. I wish my Spanish was better. Very limited in my Spanish. How great. De la hermana. My sister? Something about my sister? Muchos. Somebody can translate that, would you? For me? There is the finished one. One of them. Right there. So there is a little trick to this. I mean, you gotta. All right, let's see how close we came. Not bad. They look like a set. They're not exactly the same, but pretty close. That's kind of my definition between an artist and a craftsman, right? An artist can do one thing really, really great one time, but a craftsman has to be able to duplicate it. So, all right, we're gonna do a few more boot jack feet over here. That's the easiest way to do that. Get a fairly nice bend on them. It's a little too wide. Use that or something. It's a big shoe. Of course, it was sitting on top of the other one, so it's got a heel that's cold. Hello, everybody. Greetings. I think they are Dickies, yeah. And I'm pretty happy with the way they fit. I had some herringbone ones, and I didn't like them at all. These are pretty good, and they're just warm enough that it keeps the chill off in here. And I like the OD color too. Yeah, they're comfortable. The bad part is if you got to go to the bathroom, they're a pain in the butt. But just allows you to get more days out of shirts and stuff, and I'm not burning holes in my shirts. And especially if I'm oiling stuff a lot, I'm like putting I'm not getting all of that crap on my good Western shirts. So, and I think they're 45 or $50 now. I think my son got me these for my birthday. I always try to keep a pair around, keep a couple extra pair, keep a pair in the back seat of the truck, because if you got to get out and change a tire or something, if you're on a date. might come back to that forge in a little bit. I really want to finish up these. So we're going to let those cool down out here. Over to the welder here in a minute. Weld up a couple of boot jacks. Let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to unplug this. We're going to take this over here. I actually do. I used to do a bunch of work for some glass guys down in when I was an artist in residence at Sundance down in Utah. I did a lot of glass work. Not glass work, but I did a lot of tools. I built a lot of tools for those guys. So this is my very rudimentary. This is my very rudimentary welding rig. Really does good though at keeping dirt out of or the smoke out of the shop. Let's the smoke out of the shop. This is one I built for myself. So I might put a letter in this one for me, and then I won't be able to sell it. Because it seems like I sell every one that I make for myself, I end up selling. That's pretty rough and ready. I might keep that one for myself. This is going to work out a lot better. So I'm going to want to weld this from the back side. And I know this is backwards for you guys, and I'm sorry about that. I know there's an app that will fix that, but I've never spent the money. Because I'm a broke ass blacksmith. Hello. So my leg is just a little long. And now I need a marking tool, and I don't have one, doggone. I like that. Or do I want to do something different? I'm going to use a longer shoe. Something like that. That shoe is very perfect. That shoe's so crooked. Generally keep an anvil next to this table, but cut that right there. Thanks for the likes, everybody. Thanks for the laughs. Kind of close. Hello, Z Polsky. Greetings. Good afternoon, everybody. We're taking two things that I build and we're putting them together. So we're doing branding irons and boot jacks. And so I'm doing boot jacks with a custom brand on the inside of them. Now this is a great tool, and I recommend you guys get one of these because this works fantastic for doing this little stuff like this. Hey, that looks pretty good. Cut it a little short. Okay, so we're going to weld this together. I got to tell you guys something. I wish I had $1 for every one of these horseshoes I've welded together. I really, really, really do. I know that's backwards to you guys, but yeah. Thanks for the likes, everybody. I really appreciate it. Now we got to go get one of those feet. Actually, might weld this from the top too, just so it doesn't fall out of here. I know where it's going. And I know it's going to get used. Pretty happy with that. Probably could have got it over just a little more, but it's all right. So here's the feet. Yeah, look at there. That looks fantastic. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Good gravy. Woo-hoo! Now, before I weld the rest of it up, I need to weld the back of it. I am not real satisfied with this rod I got this time. Let's see if I can find my other rod. I have tried to weld horseshoe, and I have used wire feed welder before, but I got to tell you, this little stick welder does just about as good as anything I've ever had for doing these. It makes a little more cleanup than the wire feed welder, but once you weld it with that, you know you got it welded. I didn't even ask if you guys knew what this was and how to use it. Guess everybody kind of figured it out. All right, let's see how that turned out. So I'll get in here with a wire wheel and a chisel. your guy wears muck boots or rubber boots every day, these are a handy thing to have around, I'm going to tell you. And they beat the heck out of the woodlands. Because last night that wind was blowing about 70 miles an hour here in Cody, and if you had had one of these wood ones sitting out on your porch, that sucker'd be down in Grable, which is 60 miles away. And the dogs don't chew these ones up either, which is kind of nice. And if you've got a wood one, for some reason the dogs love to chew the arms off of those suckers. How I know. That's the reason I came up with this design. Some of those welds ain't too bad. Look at those ones. It's not too bad in there. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. I never, ever said I was a welder. Never did. I know it's backwards, but we all do it this way. There. I don't melt your brains so bad, you guys. All right, so now we got a bunch of cleanup. I got to do the. Got to hit it with the wire wheel. But we'll wait on that. I want to do this other one. I'm going to do this other one for my son, I think. Set that one over here. This one. Maybe not. My P's a little too big. He's too thick in material. Kind of an ugly one. And that's why I've been keeping it for myself. I used a slide plate off of the back of a reining horse. And I thought, hey, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of ugly. Still works, but it's not one that'll ever leave the shop for me to sell. I might give it to my boy. Not the kind of failure where you're going to cut it apart, but not good enough that you want to sell it. All right. Well, like I said, I had a whole bunch of small projects. Let's do some couple of them. So now we're going to start the forge again here in a minute. Got some more forging I got to do. I mean, what the heck kind of rod I was using on that? That's a mess. Okay. Now you're going to see some 100-year-old technology. Yeah, sentimental value. So this is a hundred. I know it's 100 years old. It's got to be pretty near 100 years old. It's called a power hacksaw. I don't know too many people in the 21st century who will actually using one on a daily basis. The good thing about them is they take a regular hacksaw blade, and so you can get the parts for them anywhere. And then this one's been modified with an automatic switch on it. So give it just a second here, and you'll watch how it works. You guys will probably never see another one on YouTube. As far as I know, this is the only one that's actually working. And this came out of a blacksmith shop from one of my mentors back when I was in high school. Where it really works good is when you're stacking up, two or three pieces. Then I can start it and I can walk away and go do something else. But I need a couple of these. These are specialized back plates, and we're going to make trays. I'm going to forge trays out of them. Looks like I need to put a new. I need new saw blades. We'll check it here when this one gets cut. So see what I did there is there's a light switch with a little stopper deal. Works pretty good. Yeah, that blade's pretty shot. Grab a wrench. So of course I'm using a age-appropriate wrench to do this. This wrench is probably from the 40s, 30s, or 40s. Yeah, the old teeth on that pretty wore out. I always put these in so it's cutting on the pull stroke. The good thing is you can buy these. They're still only about $3 a piece, these hacksaw blades. And I can cut. Oh, it depends on what I'm cutting. I can cut 100 back plates with one hacksaw blade if I'm being careful using some coolant. Not something you're going to see every day either. clean out my saw a little bit. Bunch of cutting build up underneath it. Cuttings. So those are the back plates that we'll use for doing these little dishes things we're doing. We'll do a couple of them up while I'm doing it. Understand what's going on here with this. Between stops there. No, weird. Must be right in between stops on that side. Or I could just have a bunch of old tools. Old tools. Oh, wore out old tools. Hooking. I ain't going nowhere. Like I said, I could take them over to the bandsaw and cut them, but for the sake of the video, like I said, you guys will probably never see another one of these. As far as I know, this is the only one. Unless you're watching something from maybe India or somewhere. They probably use them over there still. I know, it's great, huh? Ah, hey, when you clean out the saw, it works good. All right, that's enough of those for right now. Back to the forge. to the forge. Okay, so we got to prep those before you put them in. We could prep them over there at the belt sander, but for the sake of the video, we'll do them right here. So stuck on there. Might have to get a tube. Might have to get a glove. Woo! Don't know my own strength. It's a set of calipers I made, or dividers, or whatever you want to call them. That forged up a year or two ago. Might try to do another pair of them and see if I can put them on the Etsy store. Maybe we'll see. Takes a bit to get warmed up. So it gets heated up, I'll straighten that piece of spring out. I like to make these out of springs because you can harden the tips of them, and then they don't wear out so bad when you're doing scribing and doing marking with them. I'm gonna cut a piece of that off. I have to get that off. I cut them off whatever length they are. What they're going to be. Stand by. Well, I don't know how long we'll go along here, but we'll just go until we run out of stuff to do, I guess. Go all right. Yeah, something like that. I know my way around these tools. I've been doing this a while. Well, we'll do these back plates up and see where we're at. Takes a little bit to get them heated up. They're pretty good sized. And you got to have them pretty evenly heated, or else the scallops won't turn out even around the outsides. Because if one side's hotter than the other, then they don't forge the same. Kind of got to just let it cook for a little bit. Hurry up and wait. That's how this goes. Okay. I guess I could have used a bigger forge, but go with what I got going. All right. Well, I'm getting pretty peckish. I'm gonna go get something to eat. You guys get a hot and headed. Always let wear your safety squats. If you like the content, please go over to the Etsy store and share some love. You don't have to buy anything. You just go over there and like some stuff. That'd be great. Subscribe. Maybe go watch some of my other videos. I've got a lot of real chill videos out there. So thanks, everybody.